Do. All right, we'll send. All right, we are live. Welcome to the 6th episode of Comic X. Yeah,
Weeb.
there we go. I am your co-host, Comics for Cheap, aka I'm a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, you're a pepper, and I got my co-host with me.
You got your boy Chris, aka Black Santa, aka it is time to change the NBA logo to Kobe Bryant, aka Super Cold Water.
Super cold water, and we already have Justin in the house.
29.
2020. Did it get pushed back? Because I feel like it wasn't that far back last time.
Hold on now. Here's the thing. I know everybody's sitting there when they look at that date, they're like, "Oh my God, the album's coming out 2029. Are you serious? That's so close." I know,
so
guys.
Close.
It's coming very soon. Like it's like right around the corner. So I understand that. So don't worry. Your boy has been prepping for it. It is time. It's gonna be hot. Right. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be cold water.
It's going to be cold water. All right. Well, we have an interesting episode planned for you guys today. And it's going to be a lot of fun talking about Adam Brashear, a.k.a. Blue Marvel, today as our central focus as far as comics. But we're also talking a little bit about sports and movie news and a little bit of speculation as well. So we got all sorts of stuff going in the pot today. But I think we want to start out with a little bit of sports. As far as Chris, you were talking to me right before we jumped on about the NBA All-Star weekend, All-Star game, All-Star weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, please.
That was a very, very fun thing. Like I really, at first, I wasn't the biggest fan when they changed the format to the captain of the team picks their team or whatever, but it has really like grown on me. And I'm like loving it. And I love seeing LeBron and Steph Curry actually team up for the first time like this. And it was just really cool seeing those guys just interact and have as much fun as they could. LeBron team won again for like the 4th year in a row. So, if you're on LeBron's team, apparently you get them dubs.
That's right.
Except for the many times he's lost in the finals. Hey, LeBron's my guy though, because he is a Laker. So as long as he's wearing that purple and gold, I will support my boy the best way I can. Anyway, it's just really fun. The thing that was very interesting about what me and James were talking about was the interest, because I was comparing the All-Star game of basketball, which is fun, exciting, and stuff you want to watch. And you not just have the game, you have this shoot around, the 3-point shootout, you have the slam dunk contest, and you can say what you want about the slam dunk contest. It has died down a lot in terms of like how interesting it's been, but there's been some years in recent years that it's been lit. Like Eric Gordon, some of the stuff he did when he went against Zach LaVine in like the first time they went against each other. Aaron Gordon should have won that one, by the way, but stuff like that was just really cool stuff. But then you look at baseball, and you can, I'm not even counting football because the Pro Bowl is just a load of crap. It means nothing.
Well, okay, so I think there is a thing. So basketball, it's very easy to have a safe, fun basketball game. With football, it's just so contact heavy that a lot of people are afraid to get hurt in the Pro Bowl, I think. And they're taking it easy right before the Super Bowl, and a lot of people who are going to the Super Bowl are going to end up in the Pro Bowl. So it's almost like it's almost too cheesy of a football game, I feel, because it's almost like a contact-less sport as opposed to basketball. It's very easy to just have like like gym rules, like YMCA rules almost, where there's a little bit of contact, there's a little bit of boxing out, a little bit of drive to the hoop, but you're not gonna dunk on someone and put your balls in their face or something and then step over them. You know what I mean? It's easier to take it a little more lax on that side than it is if you were full out tackling someone midair for Pro Bowl. In my opinion,
I definitely no. I get that. When you said that dunk on somebody, now I will say in the All-Star game they are looking to dunk on somebody because it's to have that fun. As well as when you said walked over, it reminded me of what Allen Iverson did to Ty Lue when he shot over him. They crossed him up,
Classic.
hit that shot, and then walked over
that,
him.
like,
Oh my
that
god!
deliberate step over. Oh
Yeah.
man, I love that.
Yes. As a Laker fan, again, even I was just like, damn, that's really lit.
If I
I ain't
had
even
a
got a
kid
front.
and we
As a
played
kid, I
some,
popped for that. I was like, that is sick.
yeah.
That is crazy. Now, Tyloo, get your butt on defense so we can stop this man. So do something.
If I had a
Even
kid
though
and
we
we were
lost that
playing
game, we
some
won the rest of that series.
like driveway basketball, I would dunk on him and then step over him for sure. My own kid, I'd do that. I'd do it.
Your own kid.
Dude, I'd do it. You got to teach these
Father's
kids,
here,
man,
bro.
a little bit of respect. Put some respect on
On daddy's name.
dunk. Oh, yeah.
Just tell her, put that respect on daddy's name like
Yeah.
mommy does. But at least until he's, still young enough before he gets too older and you become older, and then it's just not even a game anymore. You still dominate while you can.
That's right.
But real quick, here's the thing about the football thing, though. In the past, you still have players who cared, because in the basketball, let's call it what it is. The final score on like Sunday or whatever was like 170 to like 150 something. So they're not playing, they're not caring that much. They only really start to try toward the fourth quarter, really, when it's like, all right, we want to win. But with football in the past, you had guys who at least showed up and wanted to do things. I remember guys when I was a kid showing up for the Pro Bowl, wanted to get the job done. Want to have, play some football or whatever. Because a lot of times your season is over. And outside of the guys who's in the Super Bowls or whatever, your season's over. You have nothing left to play. You have nothing else to do. Some of those guys want to have a little bit more fun. I can understand the injury part.
A little vacation in Hawaii.
Right. And you get to be in Hawaii. I could be wrong, but I can't remember a major person getting hurt from the Pro Bowl. In the past, in the past, at least, I can't really remember that being like the biggest thing. But of course, guys are banged up, so you can make that argument. The issue is, though, like you look at, like, no one cares about the football Pro Bowl anyway, though. But you look at baseball, and baseball's supposed to have when you win, your team gets like home field advantage or whatever. Like the AL, if they win, whoever represents the AL gets home field, or NL, whatever the case may be, whichever one wins.
Okay.
But no one cares, because it's just like it's gotten so boring with baseball, and the fact that, again, like when we was talking, they got rid of the steroid era for good reason. But at the same time, it was their best era. You can say what you want about those guys, but baseball was at its peak and booming when you had the Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire racing to see who can, hit 1,000 home runs, basically. Like it was crazy when those guys was going at
and everything else like that was going on.
It was wonderful to watch when you had Barry Bonds going after Hank Aaron's all-time record. You had Alex Rodriguez, who was a Yankee, my Yankee, going after the record and seeing what he can do and all those things. That was a fun era. And now you have the pitching era, which is just boring.
is injuring the hell out of people too. These pitchers are I mean, they're like, it's almost like a churn and burn with the pitchers, man. Because that is just such a strain and just pain on your shoulder. And I mean, you're having to throw this ball 90 to 100 miles an hour, or whatever their fastball might be, and then the curveball, switching it up, everything like that. And it's just like, these pitchers aren't lasting that long, man. I mean, they're bringing them in at like 18 years old, and they're only making it to 23, 24, and then they're done. You know what I mean? It's just, and they're not training them to hit. I mean, in which league is it that they have designated hitters to get them out of hitting to begin with? Mean, if that's still a thing, I haven't really paid attention to baseball too much, but it's still, it's like, these kids, I mean, and they really are kids, are coming in and that's their obviously their dominant arm they're pitching with. They're blowing out their shoulder within 5 years, and that's it for them. Like, the league doesn't give a shit about them after that, and just see you later. We're taking the next 18-year-old kid that we can find who's making waves through high school or their first season in college ball, and that's it. You're done. So you better make those 5 years count.
You're 100% right. Like, oh man, looking at some of the statistics for the Tommy John surgery is really drawn when you look at how it's increased and just the different things of how many pitchers go through this. And almost every elite pitcher has went through Tommy John surgery at one point in time. And you're looking at that like, dang, almost every single one of them has had a really decent arm injury because of the strain and stuff they're putting on them. And what's funny about that, you actually brought to an interesting point though. Because the original thing was going to be what can baseball do to like spicing up things up, and honestly, probably nothing. But you actually brought up something that actually I want your opinion on. That's really interesting. You said when a player is not useful, they just throw them away. So, what do you think about what Draymond said like a couple of weeks ago when he was saying that when a player is okay, so when James Harden did his stuff, we all know James Harden was just dialing in. He didn't care too much. He wanted to get out of Houston, right? So he didn't care. He did whatever he could to get out. But James Harden brought up the fact, and he was like, I'm not taking that away. James Harden, he did not care. He wanted to get up out of there. But what about I think he was like, he thinks that the owners of these teams and the media has poisoned fans to completely look at things one way, where if a player is acting that way, and if a player is like, you know what, I'm not going to play today because I'm about to get traded, and I'm going to keep myself healthy, or I'm not going to give it my all to keep myself healthy. But us as fans crap on them, call them selfish, say they're terrible people. For whatever reason, the death threats, because everybody wants to make death threats every time they get a chance to, even though we all know that's nothing but just some idiot behind a keyboard in his mom's basement with his hot pockets making these empty threats. But
hot pockets.
But and I'm not knocking hot pockets, they're delicious, but I'm saying those are the guys.
Yeah, I just lost my sponsorship with Hot Pockets. There it goes. Out the window.
God dang it. Anyway, so we crap on these players. But when a team what made him go off, the Cavaliers at the time, they completely benched Andre Drummond because they didn't want him to risk getting injured. And then the Pistons completely shut down Blake Griffin and was like, all right, you just go home. We're not even going to do anything until we get you out of here. He's now on his way to the Nets, apparently. But that team just got better.
That, actually.
But
for real. I said I saw that, actually, that he went to the Nets.
Yeah, that team got a little bit better. But my question is, what do you think about that? Because when he was saying that, I was like, my God, he's right. Because there's many times where that scenario happened, where I would crap on a player. I crapped on James Harden for a lot of things, for him like not trying or whatever the case may be.
For how long?
But then the team does the same thing.
For how long?
Well, James Harden, here's the thing. James Harden played like 8 or 7 games or whatever with that team, or 6 this year before he got traded. That dude still averaged about 25 points a game. But we can tell that dude put on basically like a fat suit and all. But go on.
So if it's like a few months of you slacking off before you go to your new team, I think that's kind of crappy. If it's like a few games before of you just kind of like, I wouldn't even say slacking off, but like just kind of dialing it back as far as intensity and everything. I think it also depends whose idea it was to trade you. If I was like giving my all for a team and then all of a sudden they were like, all right, see you later, we're trading you for a draft pick. Like, you don't even know the talent that you're about to bring in. And here you are putting everything you've got into the team, and they're just like, see you later, we would rather have a draft pick than you. Then I'm gonna be like, all right, well then, I'm not gonna, I don't care, for the rest of my time that's here on the team, whatever, and we'll see how I do on the next team. That's just how I would look at it. But if it was like, I kind of want to go that way anyway, I would still try, still put on a good performance. If it's good blood, if it's not bad blood between you and the team, I feel like you should still play out your games with the team before going to the next team, because you got to remember it is still business. It's not 100% like, I don't know, as personal as like, as they can make it, but I would definitely take it a little personally if you traded me for a fucking draft pick.
But see, here's the thing now, and this is kind of what Draymond was saying, and what I fully agree with him on in this aspect. When you look at, and he kind of, the way he kind of went off a little rambly, but still, when you look at the difference between that. So if a player is like, all right, I've given my all for like 6-7 years here, and you guys have not given me enough to win. And if I keep at this race, I'm going to completely waste out my prime. I'm not going to be good enough when I do finally go somewhere. I'm not really going to be able to really contribute to a team. I'm basically going to be like Dwight Howard, where we didn't need him at all to win a championship last year. He was just there.
Yeah. Okay.
But you'll lose that. You'll be like, all right, I'm not going to do much. But when a player is like, all right, so I'm demanding a trade, I want to go. But when a team does that and they say, you know what, this kid just ain't working out. It could be like a first round. It could be a guy who just got drafted to the team, and they're just like, this kid ain't working out. It's
maybe
never
the chemistry on the team isn't great or something.
Because think about it, when a kid get drafted to a team, just using draft picks, when a guy get drafted to a team, then I'll finish off with the other one, and it'll be quick. When a guy get drafted to a team, high overall, you're usually going to a terrible team. That sucks, right? Because that's why they drafted you high. And that organization most of the time isn't a good one. So when you go there, it's always when the kid didn't get it done, he didn't figure it out. It's never the organization that failed the kid. It's always, oh, this player didn't get it done. And us as fans, we start labeling them as busts. Oh, this guy was Kwame Brown, the biggest bust of all time, and this and that. When you look at what happened to Kwame Brown, he was set up to fail. He goes to Washington under Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, for whatever reason, sees Kwame, and he drafted him, so he saw Kwame as the future. And he was hanging with Kwame and liked Kwame. And then eventually, he realized Kwame Brown couldn't do things that he can do. Where it's like, Michael, no one can. Like, unless you're looking at like Kobe or something, no one's going to be as good as you and do the things that you can do. Right. Only really very rare people can do that. But Michael became a player again. He sold his ownership, became a player in Washington. And then what did he do? He literally berated the kid on every single practice. And remember, this kid was drafted out of high school. He berated him on every practice, made him cry. So when he started crying and teared up, the entire team saw that. These are grown men looking at this dude like, oh, he weak. How you a man and you crying? This dude's like 19. And he's being destroyed by Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Most say the greatest player of all time. I mean, come on. What did you expect to happen? So then he loses all his credibility because he got Michael made him cry. And then his whole career continues on. He never lives up to his hype.
Right.
But what happened to Kwame? He's labeled as if not the biggest bust, one of the biggest busts in NBA history. That's not fair. That wasn't his fault. That was the organization letting him down. Yeah. That wasn't the player not getting it done. His whole confidence and his whole thing was shot. In the NBA, you need to have confidence. If you don't have confidence, you're never going to really be that guy.
Why would you tear someone down instead of building someone up when you want your franchise to be around that person? That's a really good point what you said when a lot of these stellar players, like the best players of the draft, go to the shittiest teams in the organization. And I mean, you have to, I mean, there's not just one person in the team that can turn everything around. You can't just, I mean, even with what we do, or what I used to do and what you still continue to do, you can't just take one manager, right? In a whole store and swap, put one person in place and everything be 100% perfect. It takes a whole team to make something succeed. And you can't just, if you were to take that person into the office, this new kid into the office every day and scream at him that he's doing the wrong thing every single day, that person's going to quit. Mm-hmm. There's no way that person's going to make it past a month. They're just going to be like, all right, well, fuck all of you. first of all, I'm only here for a check, so it don't even fucking matter no more. And then that's it. Their spirit's broken. They're gone. There's no coming back from that with that group. They might go to another group. They might go to another business or whatever. And that business is like, hey, this is how we do things here. And then all of a sudden they're a fucking star performer because they're getting the treatment that they need and the support, both emotional and on the floor, that they might, require to succeed. And I mean, that just shows how shitty of a person Michael Jordan is, and how I can't wait to show them taking a shit on his grave in fucking Space Jam 2, baby. That's how it's gonna be. LeBron's gonna take a massive steaming dump right on the grave of Michael Jordan in Space Jam 2. You heard it here first. That's what I'm talking about. Speaking of Space Jam 2, did you hear that they canceled Pepe Le Pew? Cancel culture has taken out the skunk.
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, they cut all his scenes. To be fair, Pepe Le Pew rapes everyone he comes in contact with, so there is that. But
wait, he does what?
Have you ever seen Pepe Le Pew the skunk of Looney Tunes? You know how he always like takes the character and gives them a whole bunch of kisses. He's like a French skunk, like mademoiselle. Yeah, and like kisses them and like sweeps them off their feet, carries them around, gives them the old French romance. I guess I don't know. It's definitely unwanted mouth contact. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. So cancel culture got Pepe Le Pew.
I mean, to be fair, they got Layla to a degree too. Layla Bunny. I saw like people complaining that they
about the outfit.
Like they tuck away her breast or whatever and tuck away her figure, and they made her just more, I guess, skinny or whatever. I mean, I ain't really care that much, but I was just like, oh, okay, well, that happened. But people was very upset about that because they're taking that away.
Generation is soft, man. I'm telling you, they're not ready they're not ready for them to take a shit right on Michael Jordan's grave, man. I'm telling you that when that happens, bro.
I'm sure that's not going to happen. You know what? I will bet you, and God knows, we're gonna see what happened when you bet people. Stay tuned next week. Something special is gonna be on the channel. But I will bet you a clean grand that there will not be a scene of Michael Jordan, of LeBron James taking a crap on Michael Jordan's grave.
It's unfortunate that they're not brave enough to portray that scene that needs to happen.
Brave enough? Brave enough.
Brave.
Because
bravery and courage, Chris.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, so anyways, I will say, I know you enjoyed the NBA All-Star. I will say one of my other favorite All-Star weekends is the NHL All-Star weekend. Because they have a lot of different contests that they do there too, as well, like as far as speed skating, fastest like slap shot, all sorts of little things, and they can also play like a less contact game too. Not saying that it still doesn't hurt like hell to step in front of a shot to block a shot or whatever, but that's their choice to block a shot during All-Star game. But that's another one that I can actually stand to watch through. But yeah, I agree with you that the baseball one is just kind of meh.
It's a shame too, because the baseball one is the only one that kind of gives you a legit reward, where it's like, oh well, if you win, your division, whatever division wins, kind of gets that home field or whatever, and that can be big, but it's like no one cares. And it sucks, because I'm a giant Yankees fan, and I do wish baseball was a lot more interesting. But like I was telling you, I'm at the point now, I can only watch Yankee games. I cannot watch other games anymore like I used to. Obviously, I have more things to do now, but still, it's just I can watch an NBA game. I can watch multiple NBA games, multiple football games. I can't watch a guy pitch. Maybe we get a home run here and there. Again, if it's not my Yankee Bombers, most games can end up being a legitly 3-hour game, and the final score is 2-1 or 3-1. And those points came in through, hitting the outfield and guys, randos in, like RBIs or whatever. I'm sorry, that's just not interesting.
Even their fights are boring.
Maybe it's time. Get the steroids back, bro.
Get the steroids back and make the fights interesting. Even the fights are boring. Golly. Like bench
really
clearing and all they do is like that's really what they're doing. They're like, that's it. You just got hit by a 90-something mile per hour fastball and you can't land a punch. Come on, bro. You ain't that mad.
They even run up to the dude, throw a bunch of haymakers, and somehow miss all of them. It's as if the person they're swinging at somehow got ultra instinct, and these dudes are dodging, and they're not able to get hit. But they're just missing every punch. Then out of nowhere, both teams have already cleared out and broke it up.
My favorite part is that they drop the bat. Like, bro, bring the bat with you. You're going to fight. Like, bring the bat with you, bro. Swing on him with the bat. I just want to see some violence, man. I don't know. They ain't even wearing a helmet, bro. You could just swing for the head. Like Thanos said, you should have gone for the head. Can you imagine Mark McGuire running at you with a baseball bat and he's like, I'm going to hit you in the fucking head. Like, all right, now we're excited. Like now I'm sitting there at home like, all right, here we go. Here we go.
This is what I've been waiting for all day.
All season long, I've been waiting for this.
So what you're saying is baseball. Let me make sure I understand this. From James. Let me make sure I got this. This is coming from James. Baseball needs to bring back the steroids, right? And 100%. Be allowed to commit murder. Because if a dude like Mark McGuire hits you in the head with a baseball bat, you're dead.
Yeah. Yes. But I think that the murder should be excused as a passion of the sport. So there is that. Well, I mean, if you think about it, like
person who died, family would totally agree with you.
If you think about it this way, in the NHL, right? There's hockey fights, but no one's arrested for assault, right? Why isn't anyone arrested for assault?
What do they do when they start fighting? They take off sometimes they take off their gloves or whatever, and they just hit each other with their fist. They're not using the hockey stick or taking their shoes off.
I've seen them use the hockey stick. Okay. Well, hang on. Because I have seen some dirty cheap shots. Like if you even go to YouTube right now and you just search like NHL dirty cheap shots, there are definitely moments when people swing on each other with their stick as hard as they can and have dropped people to the ground. Okay. Now, were they arrested? No, they were just fined and /or suspended for a certain amount of games, and then they're allowed to freaking play hockey again. So what's the difference between that and a baseball bat?
Let me explain the difference, because I can explain that super quick, really quick. One, last time I checked, like you just said, you type in dirty shots. So it's not an illegal thing to do. I mean, it's an illegal thing to do. It's not legal. You're not able to just hit the person with the hockey stick or your shoes or whatever. You're not supposed to do that. What you're saying is to allow them to hit each other with baseball bats. That's a totally different story.
I'm just saying, take the same punishment. They're fined and /or suspended for a certain amount of games. And then they're right back in about, a couple of weeks. Take their fight, so baseball players. Yeah. Baseball, they have like 1 million games per season. So what's 7 games out, They've got like 150 other ones to play, so they're all good.
That's true. What's 7 games out and a guy's skull just completely shattered on the ground there? Kid lost their father. A girl lost their husband. Boyfriend. And I feel you, bro. It's yeah. Well, Okay. With that, you want to talk about some Adam?
Before we talk about Adam Brashear,
okay,
I do want to swing into the comics. That's a great transition, by the way. Fantastic. So Yes, I do want to talk about comics tonight. So let's talk about, because I wanted to bring up, since this month apparently is gender equality / women appreciation month. I think today might even be Women's Appreciation Day or around that time. The female characters, or the future of female characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So speculation wise, I am invested heavily right now in Black Cat as a character, Silk
For
as a
Spider-Man, okay.
character, and Silver Sable. The three. It's funny that all three of them are Spider-Man related, but
Yes.
Black Cat, Silk, and Silver Sable are my three go-tos right now as far as women appearing or being an important part of the future of the MCU. Obviously, we can also make a argument for Wanda being a very important part of the future of the MCU.
Which she will be.
And yes, and from there, do you have any names off the top of your head as far as like you think that are going to be vital soon or in the future?
Jean Grey, Storm,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're going to somewhat revisit Rogue. Like they
Tip
kind of
Plateau
started.
says no storm. Yes. So okay. So
they kind of started with that. So I do, and obviously this is X-Men heavy. Or if we're not going to use X-Men, I also think Miss Marvel is going to be very not. Well, more of Sue Richard is going to be Sue Storm is going to be very
okay.
important.
Sue Storm for
That's
sure.
what I think.
Yeah, I forgot about Monica too, who's been being built up so far in WandaVision. So actually, we have quite a few. Joe, Mr. Doyle says Madam Web could be important.
Ooh, yes, another Spider-Man.
Tip Plateau agrees with you as far as Storm. Storm and Jean Grey. I'm afraid. See, this is why I really wanted them to scrap the Phoenix movie. I'm just so afraid that, like, because that Phoenix movie failed so spectacularly, that they're not really going to circle around to that story again. And as a result, they're not really going to bring Jean Grey heavily into the MCU. I can see Madam Web being a part of the MCU, especially with how she plays into the multiverse and everything as far as that goes. And I know that's a big direction that we're taking with the MCU in the future. So Madam Web, definitely, I have a couple of her first appearance copies. And
see Peter meeting her at one of the end of one of the Spider-Man movies or something, or Miles, one of those two meeting her at the end of a movie, and she being like an end credit thing where it's like, now I got something more interesting to tell you, boy, and then we go into something like
that. And I really like Madam Web as a character. And an interesting factoid about Madam Web that I like to bring up is that when her character on the animated series, the Spider-Man animated, was actually voiced by Stan Lee's wife, which was really cool.
Yes, that was. Yes.
Yeah. So that's really cool. But Rogue is another one I kind of forgot about. So Rogue, I have been recently trying to stack up a couple of Rogues because I do think that Rogue will be important. And she's very rumored heavily to be in the new Captain Marvel movie. So Captain Marvel 2, I think, is going to be it's going to be obviously Carol Danvers, right? It's going to be Monica heavy. I think it's going to be Rogue heavy. So I think even to the point where Rogue might take Carol's powers, and then Monica will be crowned as the new Captain Marvel.
Right. I can see that. Because the thing about Rogue, I really think because of how her powers work, she's going to get a really big underdog type thing from the fans, and she's going to be somebody a lot of people can relate to because of how tough her life is and can be. So I think she's definitely going to get a lot of shine for that.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying, so we have some comments here. So I would really like a Silver Sable Black Cat movie, but then he says kidding. But I honestly, I don't think that's, out of the picture. I think that there might
I
be a
think I can
Silk.
see that happening actually.
Yeah,
I can see that being very similar to like the Birds of Prey. I can see it being very similar to that. That not like the movie gonna follow that. I'm saying the idea of putting those girls in a movie together and making it
right.
focus around them. I can see that.
Sure.
Um,
He also says Rogue getting Captain Marvel's powers would be cool if Rogue is a villain working with Mystique or Brotherhood. So there's that. Yeah, there's a lot of different directions they could take with Rogue, and a lot of things they could do. I'm so surprised, honestly, that Black Cat hasn't made any kind of appearance at all. Black Cat is such a almost cult fan base
yeah,
with the comic community. Obviously, she can be portrayed on covers, as she often is, as
of
for her
course.
sex appeal.
Yep.
There is the slight romantic interest between her and Spider-Man.
Help
That's
me out
kind of
here.
like that.
Has Felicia shown up in any of the movies actually?
Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nothing. No
Interesting.
on-screen appearance or even mention
That's
so far
weird. Wow, I
in
didn't even
any.
think about that until now. That
Mhm.
is weird. Huh.
And um I mean, just like her, yeah, again, like her little slight on again, off again romantic interest with Spider-Man, right? They
Yeah.
team up, they don't team up. It's almost like, Batman and Catwoman, where they kind of work together, they don't work together. They kind of work, it's a villain, but not a villain, which is
Yeah.
cool.
It is very similar to Batman and Catwoman, except
Hmm.
for Batman and Catwoman became way more involved with each other. And and
Right,
again, Peter and Felicia has too, but they really made it a full thing of like this is Batman's true love or whatever, where they
right.
never really played that for Peter. It was
Yeah,
more of like either this is going to be a fling or we're going to kind of see how the fans look at this. We're just going to see how this rolls and then we'll go from there. It was never really established like this is his true love. It was always like Mary Jane or Gwen or something like that. So yeah, that's interesting. I really thought they would have at least just mentioned her off there, just be like, oh, Felicia just walked in, she's so cool, and that's it. Because you don't even have to have her do anything. Just mention her, and the fans would
yeah.
be like, oh, okay, cool, she's coming.
And Comic Book Champ says Black Cat has been heating up recently. That's very true. I've been stacking copies for a hot minute and been telling people to go ahead and grab copies of her first appearance. Joe asks, are there ties with Morbius and Black Cat that she may be a cameo in the Morbius movie? Not that I know of, that there's
Hmm.
really like a tie between Morbius and
No,
Black Cat.
he's right. Morbius and Black Cat has some things going on too,
Okay,
so that could be
go ahead.
very interesting. Yeah,
What do they have?
that's an interesting one.
What do they have going on? Because I honestly don't
They
remember
had
from the
like a
comics.
little love thing going on. Matter of fact, in the animated series, I'm pretty sure they touched up on that and had those two have like a little thing. Yeah, they did. In the animated series, they have Felicia
Really?
and Morbius. Yeah, I'm very
How do
sure
I
they
not remember
did.
this at all?
Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, but I really feel that I remember them having like a little thing in the animated series of
Yo,
those two really becoming very, very close with each other. And she really
that
cared
is
about him
dope.
and he cared about her.
Joe says bingo.
Yeah,
So yeah, I
okay,
guess
yeah.
so.
That's what I remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they definitely could do that. They could very well take that and say, yeah, we're gonna do this.
And I know that
Yeah.
yeah, that would be crazy, and I would be very on board with that. I know that you and I in the past on this show have talked about how crazy some comic book speculation has gone. And like just explosions even recently, like we talked about how crazy it was, and then like with the first appearance of White Vision, has like just exploded just because there was White Vision in WandaVision, right? So
Yes. Yes.
what used to be a $10 or $15 book exploded to a $200 book, and then over like $1,000 for a graded 9.8, which is just insane, stupid. People spending their money on that, should not be spending their money on that. But
Right.
Black Cat, I feel and truly do feel that it will be the next, like what I say, the next ASM 300, the next first appearance of Venom. I think the first appearance of Black Cat will reach heights of that level, just because one, it's not as overprinted as a milestone issue like ASM 300.
Okay.
Two, with like an all black cover, it's hard to keep that in a higher grade and as good condition.
Okay.
Three, the like I said before, the cult fan base of Black Cat is very
Yes.
high. Like you were saying, those guys who live in their mom's basement with the hot pockets. This might be, their own personal love interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
their investment in it is a little bit higher, just because Black Cat might have that kind of sentimental value. Like, oh, as a kid, I really loved this character and what she brought to the table, both in the comics and on the show. So yeah, I really think that book could explode to new levels, and recently it has been heating up just a little bit. I have been talking about it, specking on it. I buy pretty much every copy that I see that isn't outrageously priced,
Right.
just because I think that a couple months down the line, or if we have any kind of announcement, casting rumors, yeah, or she just happens to pop up at some time, that book could go way up to the moon. and
It
there
could.
might not be a ceiling on that one.
Right. Right. It very much could. But real quick, I do want to say this about what's going to give Storm and Jean a little bit more of an. We got a good
Joe
comment there.
says, yeah, Joe says the cat is eating the bat as far as Morbius and Felicia dating.
I mean, yeah.
Well.
What's what's gonna give Storm and Jean a little bit more is that
Yeah, please.
with Storm especially, she's definitely gonna be that powerful Black female role model that they can use to a real high degree. Even more than Monica, they can use her as that face that they can go with. Especially because of how powerful she is and all the stuff she can do, and the role that she's always played in the X-Men. I mean, heck, at one point, remember, she took the leadership role from Scott, and she was the leader of the X-Men. And Cyclops went out to do his own thing. So you can do stuff like that with her. And then Jean is always, to me, probably going to play a big role because of how her powers are. Even though the Phoenix movie bombed, even though you knew it was going to bomb, I knew it was going to bomb. Anybody with a brain knew that movie was going to suck. But
and X-Men 3 though, so it's like it's not like they hadn't just done, or they had never done the storyline before. X-Men 3 sucked, and then the Phoenix movie sucked, and then it's like if we try to do that story, so they're gonna have to bring her in but not do the Phoenix story, which is gonna be tough. I'm not saying it's not possible, but bringing Jean in a more interesting way, but not playing into that Phoenix story per se, is going to be tough, I think, for Marvel to accomplish.
I don't know. Jean has done so many things without the Phoenix stuff. Now, of course, you can make the argument hands down she's at her most interesting with the Phoenix stuff and after the Phoenix stuff because of what she was and what happened. Right. So you can definitely make the argument. But they can still utilize her in a very good way without forcing the Phoenix down our throat to begin with, at least. So I think you can still get a couple of years before you have to go down that boat. Long as you don't rush it, you can still just have her be a member of the X-Men, a prominent role member of the X-Men, not a bad character, somebody who's up there. Make her more of like the apprentice of Charles Xavier, the next one up. When Charles Tom is done, she could be the next one up. Make that more of her role instead of, making it where the Phoenix is going to be rolling. Like, you don't have to tease that after the first, whenever the X-Men or whatever they do with the X-Men. You don't have to tease that in their first appearance or the end. Just let it. Oh, okay, we're.
You froze
just let it itself out. You know what I'm saying? You good? Okay.
You froze. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, you froze up for
Yeah. I
a
think
second.
I'm
Sorry.
good. You good?
Yes,
Okay.
but yes, I'm with you. So her
That was a weird
taking
one.
over
But to sum it all up, just let it
Charles.
play itself
Yes, yeah, exactly. And then Storm, like you were saying, definitely one of the most powerful mutants in Marvel and in the X-Men and Marvel, whatever. She is definitely Omega level. She can, bring the house down for sure with that type of power. And one of the most powerful, and I know this is what we're going to talk about soon here in a second, but one of the most powerful black characters that Marvel brought to the table was Storm. So I think that bringing Storm in would be a fantastic choice. I just don't know how I feel about
Yes.
bringing Jean in again, about trying to redo any of her storylines or anything. But Storm is such a staple in the X-Men, almost if not more important than Wolverine. I know Wolverine has such a fan base and everything like that, but Wolverine has never really interested me that much, to be honest with you. I know he's like the face of the X-Men, but it's like, as far as the X-Men go, he's never been my favorite X-Men at all. So Storm, I think, would be a vital part going forward with bringing mutants into the MCU. Are you there?
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I agree with you. The thing is about Wolverine, he's just hands down. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Come on.
We good, James?
Yep.
Okay. Wolverine though, the thing about Wolverine, he's hands down the most popular. There's no one more popular than Wolverine. He's definitely the face of the X-Men. So they're going to have to give him as a big point and make him things up with his claws. No questions asked. I'm just gonna go cut you. Stab. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Though. I can't wait to see where they go.
Yeah, so all right, so we have a comment. So Tib Plateau says every X-Men movie besides First Class was a Wolverine movie, which was a bit annoying. Wolverine is a 5'3" with a whiskey cigarettes voice, not a pretty guy. Yeah, so I think that Wolverine, with his popularity, obviously, Marvel was going to use that, and that's not like it was a smart move, I think, especially using Hugh Jackman, the big name, to portray Wolverine. But yeah, it is kind of like okay, we get it. Like Wolverine to me is overpowered in the sense, even though I know like Storm is more powered. Storm is like more powered. Charles is more powered, but to me, like if you want a definition of like overpowered, it's Wolverine. He can heal from freaking anything. You could shoot this dude in the brain and he will come back in a couple minutes. And then the adamantium skeleton and the adamantium claws, I feel like it's just like have one or the other. You know what I mean? Like have it where he has some kind of vulnerability besides the storyline that we saw with Old Man Logan. And it's just like, I don't know. Wolverine, for that reason, it's almost been like he's almost like a Superman, where it's like you can't kill him. So obviously he's going to win at the end. And obviously, whatever he goes up against is going to be.
What happened when Magneto knocked on the door, though?
Yeah, well, okay, so Magneto obviously can strip the adamantium right off his body, but if you strip the adamantium off his body, right, he still has the bone claws, I guess, and he's still gonna heal, right? So if you,
remember, like you said with the Old Man Logan stuff, Wolverine killed every X-Men because he went crazy.
Mm-hmm. And he could.
So there's
I think.
times where they have upped his power and like highballed this dude a little more than he should have. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say he's overpowered. I don't know.
Because Magneto, look, if Magneto were to just like, if he were to just stick him to something, then I guess that's one way to take him out. But and I remember in the comics where he like actually just takes the adamantium just right off of his, right out of his skeleton, and but even though like that could kill him or whatever, like he'll heal because you didn't really kill him, and then
Yeah.
he'll come back after you with the bone claws or whatever else that he can muster up, because again, like I said, unless you're really taking him out of the game, then he's not dead. So for that reason, I've just never been interested, I guess, in Wolverine. But I am interested to see what mutants are going to come in the future, as far as what they're willing to play with and work with, bringing into the MCU.
Okay, so I do want to touch up on the Logan stuff a little bit more. We're gonna actually probably say that for another video because I want to make sure we get to Adam. But I do want to say this though, Wolverine, he's had so many cool moments. It's just
Mm-hmm.
why I love the guy so much. Like even in the stuff with the sword and shield stuff. Wait, no, I think that's Pokemon I'm thinking of. Even with the stuff with the sword stuff, in the X-Men sword series they was doing,
Right.
when Logan was sitting there at the table and everybody's talking, they're getting ready for this giant war or whatever. Spoilers
Mm-hmm.
somewhat. Spoilers, people. The one of my most favorite parts is when, and I'm forgetting her name, is when she's mouthing off and she's talking, and Logan's listening to the whole thing, and then Logan just comes out of nowhere. He's like, you know what? Because she's just like, you're gonna have to do this fight, blah blah. And he's just like, that's some famous last words. And then he just stabs her right in the chest. And she's supposed to be like this all-powerful being, and she was. But it was just like moments like that. Wolverine's just like, no, I'm not afraid. I'm just gonna that's badass. Those are famous last words, lady. And then he just stabs her, and then it ends like that. And that was really
Because he's
cool.
not afraid of
That's
anything.
cool.
So like the lack of fear is because he can't die. Like, bro, if I knew that I wouldn't fucking die from anything, bro, if a cop pulled me over, I just reach for his gun every single time. Like, okay, you're gonna shoot me, but then guess what? I'm gonna come right back. You know what I mean? Like, you would have that kind of like that courage that you wouldn't normally have as a person. Like right now, I wouldn't reach for a cop's gun if he pulled me over. He's like, license and registration. Oh yeah, okay, and then reach for his gun. But if I was Wolverine and I knew if I didn't win that little initial battle and he shot me in the head, guess what? I'm going to come back like a zombie in about 3 minutes. You know what I mean? It's a little different. Like he can take those risks. He can be a pompous asshole because he knows that there are not very many people, if any, that could take him out. And even if there were, he would have more of a warning. Like he would know, hey, you know what? This is one of those people that could actually probably take me out for good. Because like they would come up on the X-Men radar a little bit more than just your typical villain. That's just me though.
Yes.
Like that's just how I feel about Wolverine.
No, I understand that. And again, we're definitely gonna have to touch back on Logan because there's people that can definitely take him out. And I do want to touch back on how if Wolverine is truly overpowered or is he underpowered. I do want to touch back on that with different feats he's done. But I do want to make sure we get into Adam right now.
Let's talk about him. Let's talk about Mr. Adam Brashear.
Let's talk about
so we were saying that as far as strong black superheroes in Marvel, really to this point where we talk about Adam, the Legend of the Blue Marvel, that's the main series where he's talked about like his first appearance and origin story and everything like that. You had Sam Wilson, who was really more of a sidekick, the Falcon. You had Storm, who was arguably one of the most powerful characters, and then you had Black Panther, who to this point, I mean, he's powerful, but it was more of an like he's the king of Wakanda, obviously, and it's more of like the flower or the Black Panther power in him. So it's not
and
like
also his brain,
he.
like his strategic aspect, the way he strategically take care of situations, really
Mhm,
sometimes is underestimated. Like he's really smart and handle things in
sure.
a really smart strategical way. That's what really
Right.
gets him an edge over a lot of situations where he'll come out on top. Where if it was just his Black Panther powers, he would lose.
Right, because I mean, even in his first appearance, he was taken out by the Fantastic Four, like right away in a couple pages. He was handled by the Fantastic Four. So as far as Adam Brashear now, the Blue Marvel, he was Superman. I mean, he is like pretty much Superman of Marvel. Like he is not only extremely smart and borderline genius, but also borderline the most powerful being on Earth.
The
And
difference is when
go
it
ahead.
comes to like him and then Superman, one of my favorite, his power. So his stuff is a little different. Like his power was based off the anti power and all that. But
Right.
what's really cool is that when it comes to Superman, because of the sun, obviously the Earth's sun, he gets his kryptonic powers. He's able to read books at this super fast level. So that's what also increases his brain power and everything. And he's able to he can read a book in like a couple of seconds, entire book in a few seconds,
Right.
go through the page. With Blue Marvel, this man learned all of his stuff the old fashioned way before he got his powers. This
Right.
dude learned all of that stuff. Um,
Right.
so and again, like with his having the anti power and all that stuff, he's just to me he's so different and so cool because with him, he doesn't have to rely on food. He doesn't have to rely on really oxygen that much. Like he can go in space and pretty much be good to go. He
Hmm.
can go underwater and be good to go. Like Superman still technically has to rely on some of those things.
Right.
Then of course it always depends on the story and the writer too with Superman, because sometimes he can go into space no problem, and other times he needs a suit. It's kind of weird with some of the Superman stuff. But
Well, I mean, some of the iconic
the thing I really
pictures
want to
of
know
Superman have
though.
him up in space drawing power from the sun. So I was just gonna say, like, even back to some of the early movies of Superman, that was like an iconic shot of him going above the earth, sitting and basking almost in the sun for a minute, and then diving back down through the Earth's atmosphere.
I mean, yeah, because basically nowadays they pretty much gotten rid of the like Superman can basically just go in space. I mean, look at it now. Look at the thing when you get Superman 1 million Prime or whatever. His whole thing was he went and bathed in the sun for so long he becomes the ultimate being. Like he
Hmm.
fully charged and then kept charging his battery and figuring out, oh, I don't basically have a limit. I can just keep standing up here and getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And now no one can stop me basically. Like I can just come down here and mollywop anybody who steps up on me. Um,
Right.
and I really like that. But the thing I really want to know is like when you read everything, like, what was your opinion while you was reading Blue Marvel? Like what did you like?
I really liked a lot. I just starting from the beginning. I mean, Blue Marvel, taking out Anti Man or Anti Man, right? I'm pretty sure the who
Yeah, the
was
guy who was like his friend,
yeah, who
or
used to be his friend or
colleague
used
or
to
whatever.
serve with him. Um, and
Right.
then um, and then basically through that fight, it was revealed that he was black, and
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, America was like, "No, we don't. We have a problem with it." So this was set in the '60s when John F.
Yes.
Kennedy was president. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, John F. Kennedy gave him a Congressional Medal of Honor
Yep.
and said, "You cannot be a superhero anymore." Um, and he was like, "Well, for how long?" And he was like, "No, no, no, forever. You cannot be a superhero anymore," because of all the backlash that it was getting from America at that time, which was, I mean, there was a lot of racial elements in that story, just going on, and which I found out after reading it that it was written by a black man who was highly educated, and I really appreciated it even more at that point because he was basically telling his story because he was born around the same time and lived through those like the same kind of experiences that he may have had growing up. So having that, it just, it hit home at a whole different level, right? So now
It
Adam,
100% does.
right? So Adam being a true superhero, he says that if my president says that I can't be a superhero anymore, I can't be a superhero anymore because what trying to do so in any other costume or any other persona would be breaking the law, right? So he was like a true hero. There was no breaking the law with Adam. He was 100% in his morality and everything like that, which I really liked. So just that's just issue 1, man. Like it was just so powerful of an opening, and and just like a setup that it was just like, holy cow, like this is a character right here, and it's amazing. And a lot of people, like including myself, I had, this is a lesser known character, and to get into this story, it was just so incredible. So I really liked that. Just the opening was just so like, wow, I need to keep going, right? And then you learn a lot more about his life. Kind of fast forwarding a little bit, his wife was almost like a government plant to learn more about him, which was
Yes.
kind of crazy. And him
Yes.
finding that out and all of a sudden he was like, no, I don't want anything to do with you anymore. This, that, and the other. Like, I feel like our whole relationship was just fake. And she's trying to explain that maybe in the beginning it was, but as I got to know you a little bit more, I fell in love with you as a person. And he's just like, nope, see ya, and goes. And then he has a conversation with the Watcher, and you can't fool the Watcher. The Watcher knows pretty much everything that's going on at all
That
times
is his
in
job
throughout the
to
multiverse.
watch.
Right.
Yep.
So he was like, well, you only told her what she needed to know, as well as her kind of telling you what she needed to know. So it was almost like the it's almost kind of like you're like a double-edged sword, because both of you were hiding things from each other, but he was still
But I do
very
feel that's different though, because he wasn't hiding the fact that he was a plant. Like I think that's a different thing. Like
right.
I would agree more that she was more wrong
Yes.
in what she hid to compared to what
Yes.
he hid. To me at
Right.
least.
Yeah. No, 100%. So yeah, it was a cool interaction, I think, between the two of them, like him trying to go there and just vent as a human to the Watcher, and then the Watcher just, being as unbiased as he can be, just kind of saying, both of you were kind of hiding from each other because, I see both sides of the story, obviously. But yeah, no, I agree with you that her coming in initially as a plant to keep tabs on him for the government was definitely more fucked up than him hiding the fact that he was Blue Marvel, like that he's got the superpowers and the stuff that he hid from her necessarily.
Right.
So yeah, just a little different. But Tony Stark comes back and tries to convince him to come back as a superhero because the Anti-Man is back. And he's like, even Tony Stark said, hey, at some level, John Kennedy's gone, right? Obviously, you've continued your life, and at any point you could have gone back to being the Blue Marvel or some iteration of the Blue Marvel. So really the only person keeping you from being a superhero is you. And that's
Of
when you
course.
get that whole thing of Adam saying, no, my president told me I can't do it, so I'm not going to do it, because that was the right thing to do. So definitely a lot of morality clause there. And he does eventually come back and try to connect and talk to Anti-Man because he knew him from when they served and when they were before they got the powers that they had gotten.
Yeah, because
And
they were basically the only two who survived the explosion.
mm-hmm.
Everybody else died, and those two survived it. The thing that's also interesting too is when you brought up the fact that the Watcher's job is to watch the universe. This dude, the show, just how powerful Blue Marvel is. Again, he's so just underappreciated. This dude has universal awareness. Like he can even understand stuff that's going on in the universe.
Right.
And then eventually it got even increased to a little bit, not as big, but a little bit of cosmic, where he's just able to look into other universes too, to a little degree. But still, he's able to at least understand what the hell's going on in all of the universe, which is impressive. And again, like all the stuff this dude can do, and you hear nothing about this dude from like most mainstreams or anything. And even with Marvel and the whole superheroes things too, that what I found to be interesting is that, again, I'm pretty, Blue Marvel did come out in the 2000s or whatever, but most of the heroes, they didn't bring this dude up at all until Tony Stark was like, I'm gonna go get this dude out, retire. Like no one said anything like, man, you remember that Blue Marvel guy? What happened to him? He just left. Like no one said anything. It was just like, like no one wanted to put him in. It seemed like no one wanted to put him in a story where,
or
for
even
whatever
bring
reason,
him up in conversation.
Bring him up. Because you would think with so many other things that happen, somebody, Reed or somebody would be like, you know what? Maybe we should see if we can get Blue Marvel and see if he can help us or something, or see what. Like, I'm gonna look into this. No one would say anything, and it was. I did find that to be kind of weird, looking at stories that followed after his. Like, no one's gonna bring my man up. Nobody. Okay.
Right. And yeah, I mean that's an awesome point. And I mean, with Blue Marvel, he's just such an awesome character, and like his first appearance now is getting so much love, which is awesome. And I know it's like a lower print story, so there's not a lot of them out there, but thankfully, and it's not just his first appearance, that whole set goes for like over $1,000 if you have 1 through 5, which is crazy. To have like a mini series go for $1,000.
Right.
Even like number 1 by itself could, if like at a 9.8, I think is listed for $1,000 plus. Was there ever a Blue Marvel versus the Sentry / the Void battle? I know that Blue Marvel and the Sentry fought.
He hit him really hard that he knocked his butt in space. They did fight.
They did fight. Oh, okay.
He knocked
how
his
did
butt
that
in
go?
space. Like it was. Yeah, he popped my man right. Like he hit him. He rocked him. Yeah.
Blue Marvel rocked the Sentry.
Yeah, he rocked Sentry. Yeah. He said let's show you what I can do. Yeah. He hit him up a little bit.
Okay.
Because he also fought Hulk too.
Yeah, no, and we just talked about that last week, actually.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah. He gave Hulk that Shoryuken. My man was channeling his Ryu. Yeah, uppercut my man. No, yeah. Enough of this bull crap.
Yeah.
But I do want to touch on something real quick. When you brought up his morale thing, what do you think? Do you think he was right to do that, or do you think he was wrong? Because there's no way Superman would have ever done that. Since we're going to use the Superman comparison, Superman would have never. If the president tells Superman, "I need you to stand down and never be Superman again," that would have not changed Superman. He would have still done that. We know Batman definitely is not going to do that because people want him to stop being Batman. He's like, screw you,
100%.
Batman.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm Batman. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So
Superman, I think, definitely would have continued just because he'd be like,
he would have definitely continued. You already know
people need me.
Huh?
He would just been like, the people need me, and then gone on and done what he needed to do. Batman's just like, fuck the law, I'm Batman.
Exactly.
So he would have just done. Yeah, he would have continued being Batman. I don't think there are really.
Like, dude, I'm not gonna listen to no man. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. So I'm freaking Wonder Woman.
Right.
Even her own freaking mother couldn't tell her not to be Wonder Woman. So, like, a lot of superheroes are not gonna do that. But do you think he was wrong to do that? Because when the world needed him in different situations, he's just like, I'm standing down, because my president didn't want me to. the people at the time when he was there did not want him to be there? Or do you think it's right that he actually stood by that and said, you know what, I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
do what I feel is right?
That's a good question because I mean, it's hard to say like if what a person believes to be right, right? So he believed that because the president said he can't be a superhero, he can't be a superhero. So it's hard to be like to go into his own personal values and try to be like, well, where's the line, right? Where if Galactus, you know, about to devour the earth, is that the line? You know, if Magneto just like on his rampage going after, is that the line? Or you know, little minor villains here and there just killing people that he could have stopped on the street, like he was just happened to be walking past the Rhino, like just going through someone's car or something. Is that the line? Like him just stopping being like I don't know, man. It's such a good question because it's really hard to tell like what he could or could not do based off his own personal morals. Uh, where the line is for him to decide maybe I should go against the president, or you know, he can't do it because he's like that pure and that good that his country said that he can't do it, so he can't do it.
Because that's the thing. Because it's like, okay, if Rhino's just destroying some cars and he's just rampaging through being a doing Rhino things,
Doing the
you
Rhino
can
thing.
make the argument where it's like that's not a big enough deal for me to come out of retirement. But
Mm-hmm.
if someone like Galactus shows up or someone with a power that's obviously beyond Rhinos, and this dude is threatening to ram roughshod on this planet, could basically destroy this planet or kill all of its civilians or whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
is that good enough for you to come out of retirement?
Right.
Because definitely if you deep down feel I can stop him if I went out there and did something, and then you
Oh,
don't do
sure.
nothing. And even if the day is saved by the other heroes, the loss that happened that could have been prevented if you would have just jumped in there and ended it from right then and there, does that make it right or does that
I mean,
make it
that's a
wrong?
lot of what Spider-Man's story is with the, you know, the great power, great responsibility. There's all the fucking newspaper calling for him to stop being Spider-Man. And he was just like, no, I'm going to keep being Spider-Man because guess what? It's my responsibility to save people because I can. So like there is that, I guess that's the, almost like the flip side of it. He will continue being Spider-Man no matter how many times people are calling for his head and saving even just like street level whatever, you know, like one person one-on-one crime type things that he does,
Right.
while Adam on the other hand is you know, not coming out of his retirement, you know, for anything almost, and he's a lot more powerful than Spider-Man, and
Yes.
he could save, you know, all of you know, New York or all of the United States if he wanted to. From I I'd hate to see anyone that wanted to go up against Blue Marvel.
Because
You
see,
know, I what
that's the very interesting thing too. Because when it comes to the MCU, because I think I even said it last week, last episode, like, man, I want him in MCU. Is he too powerful? Like, seriously,
for
is
the
he too powerful to show up for the MCU right now? Like,
nah.
I mean,
I mean, they're
because if
introducing
you,
Monica.
I'm just saying, just think about it like this. If because at first I was like, nah, he could, but think about it like this. If he shows up and if you don't water, because obviously all of them are watered down to a degree, right? They're not as powerful as their
Sure,
comic version for obvious
sure.
reasons. But even if you watered him down to the level of them, you can still make the argument, dude, this dude's gonna take Thanos out. So what
I
would
mean,
he
they
be
brought
needed to show up
Carol
for
in.
and do?
I mean, there are still villains out there more powerful than Thanos. I know
Of
Thanos is
course.
extremely powerful, but to bring in these more worthy opponents, you will need to bring in more worthy candidates. So Carol Danvers fucking one-shotted Thanos like it was nothing. You know what I mean? Like she just, even in WandaVision, they made the reference where like Scarlet Witch, they're like, oh well, you know, Wanda seemed to be doing okay by herself against Thanos. If he hadn't called the Blitzkrieg or whatever, then she probably would have taken him out. And then even like Wu was like, you can make the argument that Carol Danvers could have taken him out by himself. So we
And I'll
already
be honest
do.
with you, I don't think she would have. I don't think Carol can do it. I don't think she would have been able to take him out.
With
I think she would.
without
I think
without the
legitimately
Infinity
one-on-one.
Stones, without the Infinity Stones, or with the Infinity Stones.
Now, of course, we're talking about just MCU. We're not talking comic, right?
We're talking
We're
MCU.
talking about both in this.
Talking MCU.
Just MCU.
Carol Danvers in that like almost like Nova type form, or how I don't remember how they call it. Whatever her form is, the binary form, I guess, right? So, her in that form versus Thanos
binary,
without any stones. I don't know. I think it'd be a close call. I know Thanos is an Eternal. He is, or a son of the Eternals. He is a Celestial. He is like almost God level. Beyond, he could kill gods. He killed Loki, right? So he can kill gods. So I don't know. It'd be a close call if they were truly battling one-on-one, no armies surrounding them.
And see, that was one of the biggest issues I had, and I brought it up to you before years ago when we was talking about the MCU. I brought up to you before that I felt that they did not show how powerful Thanos should have been without the gauntlet. He had that little fight with Hulk, but even with that fight, I did not see what they should have done with him. They made it where it seemed that, because if I'm not, I felt like he was still using the strength stone. I felt like he was, and even if he wasn't, they did not show how strong he should have been when he fought against him. Because when Hulk, there's in the comic where Hulk fights against Carol, and he literally one-shots her into space. Because there was like, all right, she's gonna be the one to be able to take him down. Hulk is like, are you serious? And he literally one-shots her butt and knocks her butt into space. And then they literally like 5 seconds later, it's like, all right, well, she didn't get it done. Who do we got left? So it's like, okay, Hulk did that. Now, Thanos, I really do feel is stronger than Hulk in a lot of ways. So it's like, if Thanos can't, now obviously if Hulk continued to get angry, you can make your argument, different story. But I'm just saying, like, I did not think they gave Thanos enough power without the gauntlet, where they really should have shown that without the gauntlet, I can take all of you down. With the gauntlet, I'm unstoppable to everybody in the universe in his mind. But they should have at least showed that without the gauntlet, they should have had more scenes where he's just drop shotting those guys without the gauntlet. I just felt that they really didn't.
When he's on the ship with the Asgardian ship, he did, because I just happened to rewatch Infinity War recently. So without using the stone, he did have the gauntlet and he did have the Power Stone, but he never like activated the Power Stone against Hulk. He was faster and obviously stronger than the Hulk in that very short battle. I really hate how they nerfed the Hulk throughout Infinity War and Endgame. It was like, that could be a whole fucking episode in itself. Like, I hate how they portrayed the Hulk. I hate the even like behind the scenes legal battle between them and Universal to even use the Hulk, which is kind of played into why they didn't bring in the Hulk. But anyways, like, just that in and of itself was like enough, I think, movie wise, to show that, you know, this dude, he faster, stronger, smarter, harder, you know, the Kanye West song of Power, and like he did beat him down. And then in Endgame, he does fight multiple of the Avengers without the stones or the gauntlet or anything like that. And even Thor, you know, with Mjolnir, and Captain America when he wields Mjolnir. And I mean, he's still putting up a pretty damn good fight. I know obviously they wanted to lean more towards the heroes taking him down, but he still does show that he is a very credible threat and powerful opponent, even without the stones. Could they have done better? Yes, obviously. But with everything they were trying to shove into one movie there with Endgame, I know we've had our discussion about Endgame. as a movie. I think they did okay as far as power level for Thanos.
I don't know, but what I do know is that it would have been freaking awesome if Blue Marvel did show up and just like one shot at Thanos. It's just showing like,
Out
all
of
right,
nowhere.
you done made way too much noise up in here. It's time for me to put your butt down, bro.
Out of nowhere. Blue Marvel just shows up. Everyone's just like, who is this guy?
Out of nowhere.
Where was he 5 years ago?
Who is this man?
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Where were you 5 years ago? I didn't get the okay to show up.
Yeah,
I finally got the okay.
Them killing Kennedy was
Obama
not
knocked
enough
on
for
my
me to
door and
show
said I
up.
could go out there
Yeah,
and play.
Obama.
So
Once Obama finally gave me the the okay, I was like, all right, well now we're coming back.
it's time to get this going. It's time to get this going. That actually would have been funny and kind of cool. I'm not even gonna lie. If they had Obama's the one who convinced him to show back up and be a hero again.
Yo, that would have been amazing. I'm just gonna say right now. Obama's like, oh, you know who we need is Adam Brashear.
Bro, somehow someone needs to get this to the Marvel heads up over there for the MCU and
That's
let them know they need to cast Obama real quick and have him be the one to convince Blue Marvel to show up. When people are wondering, dude, where was you all this time? He could be like, yo, Kennedy told me I couldn't do nothing. And then Obama came to my door and he talked me into coming back out. He showed how much the world has changed with him being a black president. And he made me understand how needed I am right now. It could be some crazy motivational speech that will rally every single black person in theaters and around the world watching. It would be awesome. It would rally a lot of other people too. It would be actually kind of cool. Yo, get Obama. Yo, I'm gonna make a hashtag MCU hire Obama. We need this man to do something. Yeah, it's gotta be like a long hashtag, and I get the whole thing. I don't even know what to write, but we need to get Obama up in there.
Kevin Feige right now with the hashtag hire Obama. Hashtag, actually, you know what? Let's bring it back. Hashtag thanks Obama. Thanks Obama for bringing Blue Marvel back into the Marvel universe. Hashtag thanks Obama.
Thanks Obama. That needs to happen, bro.
Oh my god, that's too funny. But I'm glad that you brought up as far as like in theaters sensation. So we saw how quickly Black Panther as a movie hit $1 billion in theaters, which is a remarkable feat, even in today's day and age. Even if you want to say like it's more expensive for a movie ticket, now than it was back whatever blockbuster that you might want to bring up, like Titanic or whatever the hell you want to bring up, right? So, or Avatar. So Black Panther hitting $1 billion so quick, bringing Blue Marvel in. Do you think that would as quickly hit $1 billion, as far as in theaters and production, if we were living in a COVID-free world, obviously?
Wow. Actually, because of how his story is, I think it would definitely help now, especially with all the different movements. And because you got to look at this in the most strategical way possible in this situation, with all the different movements, with everything that's going on, with all the different situations that's happened to Black people, to see his story told, I think it would actually really, really do well in theaters. I think it would be something. Actually, I think it would legitly win an Oscar. Like, I think it would win like the movie of the year or whatever. I think it can get the job done because of how much power that movie will say, not just in terms of how powerful he is, but just the message that it can send. I think that would do extremely well.
I think it. I
think it would do it because it's a more emotional story than Black Panther is.
Yes. Yeah, no, for sure. They would have to, I think, incorporate a little more action throughout the story. Maybe play up the beginning and the end of it a little bit more. Put that middle piece for sure. I mean, just the whole him, being asked to step down and the internal conflict of him going back and forth, the thing with his wife, everything like that playing into it. I think for sure it would make I think it would make a great movie, and it's well deserving of its own 2-hour segment, like its own 2-hour beginning, middle, end story, not just like a cameo in someone else's movie or bringing him into a show. Like a lot of people thought he was going to show up in WandaVision as the love interest of Monica when she was talking about this mysterious person that was like her contact or whatever. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's Blue Marvel," and like, really, you're going to bring someone with a detailed past like that into like one episode of a Disney Plus show? So I think that him having his own thing would definitely go a long way.
I agree. I think it definitely would, and I would love to see that. That's why I really want him to show up in the MCU. But it's just like to me, it's just
it would be a while because I know they've already announced so many people or so many movies for the next phase or whatever, like so many different things coming into play. And I know that he hasn't been like really announced, but I know Marvel specializes in surprising people as well. So it wouldn't be like completely
out. But have we even still got anything on Blade yet?
They're talking about filming later this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're talking about, I mean, as far as Blade goes, I forget why they're talking about bringing Blade in, maybe like the with Doctor Strange or something like that, but they are definitely talking about initializing filming later this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good because I really want them to say something because I know we obviously got the date on Spider-Man.
Yes.
So that's coming next year, right?
They're talking about Christmas season of this year.
Of this year, that's right. It's this year actually. Yeah. So we got Spider-Man coming out already. So
right.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Right. Yeah, we're getting towards the movies. They're talking about them again. We'll see if they actually start coming. I know we're in like the hour and a half mark, so we're kind of pushing our time. So I will say just a couple things. This Wednesday, Justin is having an auction on his channel at Comic Talks, so be sure to see us there. He will be having me as a guest, which is really cool. And then this weekend, I'm going into Detroit, and then we're traveling over to Ohio, where we're meeting a couple of people and doing a little show there, where we'll have an auction that night. So this weekend, stay tuned for that. That'll be fun. And other than that, Chris and I will be talking about the next character / whatever that we should be reading, storyline, everything like that.
Yeah, next week I got something that should be very interesting for you, James. This is what I want you to do. Next week is the 7th episode, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. This is what I want next week to be. Next week is going to be I want you to look into the 7 Dragon Balls. It's time to bring some weeb up in here for next week's episode strong. I want it to be a Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super special. I want you to read some stuff, look at some stuff, whatever you want to do, and I want your opinion, your true opinion on what you think about some of the characters of Dragon Ball Z. I think that will be lit. I think that will be cool. And I think it'll be very, very interesting. We'll probably come up with some other stuff off stream or whatever that we gonna hit up. Next week is also gonna be the debut of the video that I've been planning. I'm really excited about that too. That's gonna be lit too. So we got some cool things coming, man. We got some cool stuff coming.
Perfect. Well, then again, we will always be on Monday at 7, unless one of us has some kind of illness or something like has happened in the past. But every Monday at 7 p.m., we're here on YouTube for you guys to catch us, and we will see you next time.
As always.